always wondered, gee, what would I be doing if I hadn't been a home builder? And I don't know.
For 25 years, Robert Lewis headed up the Nevada operation of the Lewis Homes group of companies. Since 1961, that company has built more than 25,000 homes and apartments in the state of Nevada.
We've always tried to be an involved company and say, really we're going to try to make the neighborhoods nicer, and we tried to do things a little bit better than other people.
They did that by always keeping an eye on the competition.
I think, in our business, you run into sort of a lot of arrogant people, and they're always, oh yeah, we're the greatest. And we were, as a company, sort of always running scared. We'd go out there and you'd find out that Pardee or somebody opened up a new project, and we'd go out there and we'd come back all depressed. Oh, their models look better than ours, or this is a better price than ours, or why didn't we figure out how to do that? And then we'd go back and start working. I'd say, okay, now we got to beat these guys.
Lewis Homes was a family company started by Robert's parents, Ralph and Goldie, in 1955. His parents were accountants who took on home builders as clients. Some of those home builders offered an investment in their project as payment for Ralph and Goldie's services.
Some of these guys were pretty small guys, and well, how about instead of paying you if we let you invest in one of our projects? And so they sort of got a taste of it, and then somewhere or another, he and my mother decided, great, we'll become home builders.
They started out in Claremont, California, building higher-end tract homes, about 20 houses a year. Their niche? Customization, his mother's specialty.
She got surprisingly good at sort of understanding what the buyers wanted and trying to focus on our customers.
That customer-friendly approach became the cornerstone of the Lewis family's business.
You feel good when someone says, yeah, you did a really good job for us, and we're happy, and so you do get a level of satisfaction out of that.
So the company grew. In 1961, they sold a house in California to a guy who owned a clothing store on Fremont Street in Las Vegas.
He told my parents, he says, you ought to build the same houses you're doing in Pomona in Las Vegas, because nobody's building stuff for my customers or whatever. So my parents said, great, we'll come to Las Vegas and try to do something.
They bought a piece of land in North Las Vegas and created Park North Village. Robert was still a teenager at the time, always helping out in the family business.
We'd have model houses, so every day after school I'd water the lawns.
In 1967, Robert graduated from Claremont McKenna College. 2 years later, he got his MBA from UCLA. At the time, his dad was making frequent trips to Reno to visit the FHA office. It was a harbinger of things to come.
My dad would fly up there, and he kept saying, there's an opportunity in Reno. Why don't we build up there? So next thing we knew, in 72, we started building in Reno. And then one day my dad said, hey, how would you like to see how we buy land? And he said, why don't you come to Reno with me? And I'm thinking, oh, yeah, this is great. I get to gamble.
Little did he know, his dad was about to turn over the Silver State business to a very capable son.
All I know is next thing, I'm living in a motel up in Reno. And it just happened, that particular land deal hit, and so we were able to start building. So all of a sudden, I'm in Reno and thinking I'm a home builder up there.
He was about 27 at the time, and finally getting a taste of some serious responsibility.
When you're working in the office with your parents, it's sort of like you always get to go home at night and not worry about the problem, and you left it with them. When they sent me up to Reno, now all of a sudden it was my problem. There was, it's like I wasn't allowed to escape from this.
About a year after Robert's move to Reno, the manager of Lewis Homes' Las Vegas office passed away. So Robert started coming to Las Vegas weekly.
Pretty soon I figured, there's a lot more going on in Las Vegas and a lot more opportunities. So then I moved down here and commuted to Reno.
The move was good for him. He met his future bride, Catalina, in southern Nevada, and the business continued to expand. In the past several years, they've weathered some major changes. In 1999, Lewis Homes merged with Kaufman & Broad.
We were at sort of a point in our company where we were thinking, gee, we either have to get bigger and grow like these guys are, or work with one of them and do something.
Investment bankers advised them to either go public or get acquired. The timing, they said, was perfect.
The way it works is you set up a room where you have copies of everything and every contract, every land deal you have, and then these public guys come in and they look at it, and they had sort of a structured process. And all I know is one day they said, okay, great, KB was the high bidder, and what do you guys think about it? you're going to do it. And it sort of had a life of its own at that point.
Lewis stayed on with KB just through the transition period, then stepped down to return to the Lewis Operating Corporation.
And what we do is we try to buy pieces of land, and usually it's something that's a longer-term type of development. We've tried to be involved in the community, and I'm thinking that's probably something that gained us a little bit of respect from people.
That community involvement includes Robert's participation in the Southern Nevada Home Builders Association, where he's twice been named Home Builder of the Year, and on the Clark County Growth Task Force.
It's sort of like, instead of us being always the enemy or always trying to do something that's controversial, we thought, gee, why don't we get on the front end of a lot of these kinds of things? There's some people who seem like they're always fighting the local government, and the reality is it's like you ought to be on the same team. We need housing here, and people want high-quality housing.
That high-quality commitment to this community has earned Robert Lewis a spot in the Nevada Business Hall of Fame, an award he's humbled by.
I'm truly honored. I'm not sure I deserve it. Again, I'm in the running scared world all the time, so I look at these guys and these guys are way smarter, or they've done more, or whatever. So I don't know, but I'm thankful he chose me.
Lewis is a big supporter of the university, donating in excess of $200,000 since 1998.
Just being in the community, it's sort of expected that you ought to be involved in some of the charitable or civic organizations.
It's part of a philosophy that's made Lewis a success in this community and in the business world. In fact, many of his employees have been with the company for 15 or 20 years. And one of them expressed the Lewis way in a nutshell.
You never focused on making money as much as you focused on building the best houses, and then the money just kind of came.
A successful family business that's made Nevada a better place to live.